In the week where Hancock and Pedersen trade insults in the Speedway press, he said, he did, he said, etc, etc. I'm sure you get the picture. I have to ask, is this to sell tickets? Well, it might be working. I've got to say I'm tempted. There's another question I have to ask. Just picture this. A star rider is busting a gut to pass another and gets things slightly wrong coming off at high speed. Is it ever okay to cheer in those circumstances? Never in Speedway, but okay in Cradley. Good evening and welcome to the Speedway Tavern. In the studio we have, let's go to a different order just to make things different. In the studio we've got Joseph.
Hi.
We've got Matt.
Good evening.
And we've got somebody who doesn't know what an SD card is.
Good evening.
That's our friend Webby and myself, GA. How's everybody today?
Fine, yep.
Now obviously I made a bit of an accusation there about booing riders, or sorry, cheering riders when they fall off. But I think we'll leave that to a little bit later in the discussion. If anybody wants to join in with that and any experiences from the terraces last night, I would be grateful. I know Joseph's got a few things he wants to say, haven't you, mate?
Sure does.
So, shall we go from the sublime, which was last night? Should we start? Matt's laughing at me already. Should we go to the ridiculous? I was watching the Sky match, Lakeside versus Wolverhampton. How many matches had Lakeside lost this year at home?
A lot.
Yeah. So you would have been hoping for something perhaps from that match. Didn't work out that way, did it? Would you like to elucidate?
Well,
it felt like it was loose.
It felt like, yeah.
You mean elaborate?
Well, where do you start? I mean, other than Tobias Muslek, who I thought put a lot into his racing, the stand of the Speedway I thought was dreadful, to be honest. It was a bore, quite frankly.
Is that down to the track or just down to...
I think it was just down to the really poor performance from Wolves.
Right.
Peter Adams has talked in the week about getting an improvement for Monday against Coventry, and he's absolutely right. I think he needs to rattle a few cages, because I thought there was a lack of effort from some riders on Monday. The desire was poor. As I say, Muslek looked quite lively. Peter Carlson had a couple of good race wins, but didn't really do much else. Freddie Lindgren was very disappointing. Jakob Torsell beginning to look more and more like a bit of a one-track man, good at Monmore Green, doesn't really do much on the other tracks. And it's just after a really positive start to the season, it's starting to peter out a little bit already.
Yeah.
Coming into the season, that's 5 straight defeats now. The last defeat, of course, before that was at Leicester, and that was a similar defeat, and not just the size of the defeat, but the manner of the defeat as well.
Well, I mean, that's two of the teams towards the bottom of the table that you've sort of gone to and not got anything from, really.
Well, in fairness, we went to Lakeside earlier in the season and won, because we managed to ambush them in the last couple of races with a couple of 5-1s. That never looked on the cards on Monday. I think the other concerning thing from a Lakeside point of view was that they did a deal to try and get more into the stadium, and didn't look like it worked, to be honest.
Did it? No, it was a pretty poor crowd. I guess Lakeside's problem is they're sitting nearly at the bottom of the table. It's quite difficult to...
Well, they had a good win against Kings Lynn on Friday, and they obviously took that into Monday.
So we're looking at the Elite League table. It's not looking great for you, is it?
Dropping down like a star at the moment.
You've got Coventry in first place, 17 matches, 37. Poole in second place, 14 matches, 35. Kings Lynn, third place, 14 matches, 26. That's quite a big drop between second and third, isn't it? Bellevue sitting in fourth place. I'm not sure I'd have picked that at the beginning of the season.
Not sure, no. But
21 points. Swindon in fifth place with 19, 11 matches. You've got 13 matches. You're in sixth place with 18 points. It's not a lot to make up there, isn't it, really?
A lot.
Yeah.
And need to get results away from home. That's been the big problem over the last couple of seasons. Our away form has been pretty poor, apart from the 2013 season where we sort of had a better season than we've had in recent years. But yeah, it's all you're getting pressure on, and if you're not delivering away from home, you've got to go to places like Lakeside and Leicester and score points if you're going to have any pretensions of being in the top four, because otherwise you're putting pressure on cleaning up in your home matches, and doesn't always happen.
And you don't sound very hopeful, if I'm honest. You don't look very hopeful either.
Oh, I'm used to struggles. But no, it's disappointing at the moment. We'll see what happens on Monday against Coventry. It's going to be a tough one.
It is, yeah.
Coventry pushed us close last time. They always seem to do well at Monmore Green anyway.
They just got a draw at Bellevue as well in cracker of a match by all accounts.
Yeah, I think Sky may well have been advised to pick that match instead of going down to Lakeside to watch the ball
I've
fest.
I've said this before. I have no idea who picks Sky's matches that they go to, but hey, I think he should get the sack.
Well, to be quite frankly, Monday was just boring.
Yeah.
Not just because of the fact that we lost, it was just the standard of Speedway was just disappointing.
Yeah. And the track deteriorated.
And having seen the World Cup final and the first round of the European Championship on Saturday, two really, really good meetings, to come back then and watch that.
So I actually didn't see the European Championship on the weekend because I forgot it was on. So actually, who won that one?
Mr. Popular himself, Nicky Pedersen.
Nicky Pedersen won it, right? Greg Hancock's not part of that, is he? Cause
no, the last time I checked, America isn't in Europe.
No, well, you say that we've seen strange things happen in Speedway, including Czechoslovakians riding for Russia and in the World Cup and all sorts of So I wouldn't put anything past, but yeah. And Australia riding in the European Cup. I mean, Australia's not in Europe either, and they've had Australians riding in that. So. It's only in Speedway. So yeah, okay. Well, you've depressed me now. So let's talk about.
Let's go home, let's go to the pub. So.
Let's talk about something else. First of all, we ought to talk about. Okay, we've got somebody coming on the phone in a minute. Is he there now? Oh well, we'll go straight on to that then. We'll talk about last night's match. But before we talk about last night's match, as I alluded to. In my sort of frontispiece at the beginning, there was a little bit of, shall we say, unsportsmanlike behaviour from some of the Cradley fans. Obviously, Adam Ellis was in heat 13. He was at the back. He was busting a gut to get past. I can't remember who it was now, and he overcooked it and came off a pretty high speed crash. In the middle of the bend, it came off pretty quick. It's the sort of crash that you've seen people break legs with before. And there was this cheer that came up, pretty loud cheer, actually very loud cheer came up from the Cradley fans. Now, there'd been other crashes during the night, and a couple of them had been Cradley fans, and I don't recall any Birmingham fan cheering for that. Question, is that in any way acceptable?
It shouldn't be really, but sometimes in the heat of the moment, when it's a close meeting, I've done it before in the past. I'll be quite open about it. I've initially cheered and then thought someone might be actually be hurt here.
I understand that, but
not when it's sustained.
Well, that was the thing. It was sustained. It was sustained.
Really, but sometimes, why can I hear myself back?
I don't know. Deja vu.
Not pretty, was it?
Yeah. Say that again.
So anyway, we've I believe we've got Dingle on the line. Are you there, mate?
Yeah, I'm there, mate.
Okay. Fantastic. So yeah, I mean, would you like to give your take on last night?
Overall, it was an absolutely fantastic night. I think it was a brilliant meeting. The track was prepared really well. There was a lot of overtaking, and the Cradley fans didn't enjoy it, so there's got to be a bonus.
I couldn't possibly say. He says, nodding his head with his thumbs up.
No, to be fair, there's a lot of Cradley fans that are really good friends of mine, and they're good people, but I think a few of the crowd let them down last night with the incident you were talking about. I was, as you know, I was quite upset about that.
Yes, I had to hold him back at one point. No, not quite true. So, is that ever acceptable? The way that they behaved.
I was thinking about this earlier. It's possible that they're not real Speedway fans, if you know what I mean. A real Speedway fan wouldn't do that, but maybe Cradley being a new club, they've got sort of a new breed of fan, and they don't quite understand the sport as well as maybe they should. It's a different mentality. Speedway fans aren't really like that generally, are they?
I don't think so, no, but if you're talking about new clubs, of course, Birmingham is a new club, and I don't think that we do that, although we have been accused of doing that in the past, of course, so maybe that was a bit of that.
I don't remember any Bromwich fans ever doing that.
Well, it certainly didn't happen last night, did it, when there was some Cradley riders falling off. By and large, it was a very tense meeting, and by and large, I thought the fans behaved themselves, on both sides by and large. It was just that one incident it left a very sour taste in the mouth.
Yeah, they did disappear quite quickly after the end of Heat 15. The Cradley fans.
To be fair, I probably would have if I'd been in their situation, and they've probably got a little bit further to travel than most of us.
And they're not good at losing.
And they're not good at. They don't like losing, but then who does? Who does? Joseph, you've got a bit of a take on it, because you was actually in the crowd last night, wasn't you, on the first bend, which is where a lot of these unsavoury noises were coming from.
Might have to speak up a bit, okay?
I didn't hear this personally, but one of the people who were standing by me said that they heard, before he fell off, for them shouting for him to be pushed up the fence and to tried to knock him off. So it wasn't just a heat of the moment thing. They were hoping for him to be knocked off before he was knocked off.
What do we say to that, gentlemen?
I'd like to say it didn't surprise me, but unfortunately it doesn't surprise me that much.
I think Dingle's probably hit the nail on the head. There are new supporters within Cradley. But did you also? Am I not right in saying that you also heard quite a lot of swearing coming from the same?
Yeah, especially at the end when they were all walking off. I did hear, like, there was this one person who was just like shouting across the stands.
So they didn't like losing, did they? See,
I don't think the Cradley fans are used to losing, are they? That's half the problem.
See, well, no, they're not used to it, are they? Let's be honest, they've not. Then we came, and we're sorting them out. I've got a sort of different take on it a little bit, as far as the swearing and the general bad manners. But let's be honest about it. I agree with what Dingle says there, that not all Cradley fans are like that. It's just that the ones that are make it bad for the ones that aren't, if that makes any sense. We at Birmingham, one of the important things that we are trying to do is attract younger fans, and as fans of the sport, we have a responsibility to do that. Now, if I'm a new supporter that's turned up with my young kids for the first time, and I hear that swearing going on, and I hear the bad language, and I hear people say fence him and all of that, am I going to bring my kid back again?
You'll think twice.
I'm certainly going to think twice. And so, we all, Cradley fans included, because presumably they want the next generation to come along just as much as we do. You've got a responsibility, haven't you? What do we think?
It's unfortunate, to be honest, that they've got a certain element in their support base like that. But I mean, you look on the forums on the internet, that Cradley are not the best liked of clubs, and they've only been around a couple of years. It's maybe because of this element of whether they need to sort this out in house. I don't know. Because
that's what we're talking about now. This not so nice, unsavoury element that I experienced probably the first time last night. And and not, as we've all said, and let's be as fair as we can. Not all Cradley fans are like that, and probably the majority are not like that. But you only need half a dozen to make it. It sticks, doesn't it? It's
enough to drive fans away.
Yeah. And so it's sort of further to my question about, have we as fans not got a responsibility to the club and wanting to attract a younger generation? Has the club, and I'm talking about Cradley now, have they not got a responsibility to say something maybe in their programme, or make it clear that actually that sort of behaviour is not welcome?
I think in the past they have, actually. I think Nigel Pearson's has done it in Cradley programmes in the past.
Right.
But they obviously don't seem to pay much attention.
So are we saying that it's the norm for Cradley? Are they known for being disrespectful?
They certainly seem to be known, from what I'm reading on the BSF, and you've mentioned it. I mean, and I've experienced matches back in the 70s where the banter, if you want to put it that way, was blue, but that was a different time, and that was when the terraces were full of supporters.
Yeah.
It's now we're openly trying to attract a younger generation to the Speedway, and as I've said before, if I'm a parent and I bring my kids to that, and that last night was the first meeting that I'd ever experienced, I'm going to be thinking again, surely.
I think for promoters it's a bit of a double-edged sword, isn't it? I mean, they still want to bring in the younger generation, but that little bit of needle adds a little bit to the promotion of the meetings, isn't it? Because the next meeting between Brummies and Cradleys, I'm sure the crowd will be just as good, because there's that little bit of needle between them. Yeah. But as for bringing in the younger generation, it's going to be difficult if a newbie comes along and hears that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be a family sport, isn't it?
Well, that's what it's always published itself as. I sometimes wonder whether we'd be better off promoting ourselves as an extreme sport rather than a family sport, but that's perhaps a debate for another time.
There's a good comment on there. You could probably read it better than me.
Okay. Trust me, not all Brummies fans are angels. I hear plenty of swearing from where I stand by the starting gate from people old enough to know better. Well, that's not nice to hear, but
I think it's true. The special one says that there are probably every club has probably got its minority,
and maybe Cradley are getting a worse reputation in the same way as Paul perhaps sometimes get a bad reputation because they win all the time.
Maybe every club has there always will be people like that, but maybe just in Cradley the people there just happen to be louder, so that's why they're. But
I'm sort of going to re-ask the question, because I know that it's been published in our programme that if there's any sort of, to use an old-fashioned word, boorish behaviour, to let somebody know, because that we it's not to be tolerated. So maybe as supporters if we witness that, do we have a responsibility to let somebody know, or at least have a quiet word in the ear of the people that we hear? Please don't do that.
I think all clubs should do the same. But to be slightly controversial, I can imagine there are supporters that do actually like that sort of needle.
I can imagine.
I like. Well, I do. Okay, I'll hold my hand up.
Dingle will back me up on that.
I like the needle. I like. Last night was special, precisely because of that needle. Precisely because we beat Cradley. But
there is that limit.
There's a limit. There's a line, threshold. Isn't there? Yeah. Threshold.
I think it goes back to my original point about them not being true Speedway supporters. I see what you're saying about in football, a little bit of needle. It sells tickets, and it's good for the sport in a lot of ways. But Speedway's always been perceived as a family sport, and it's different to football in a lot of ways, and it should remain that way. And it should be promoted as a family sport, not as a sport where you go along to cheer people who are falling off.
Well, yeah, I mean, here's the thing. In football, because of that level of needle, they have to segregate the fans.
Yeah.
We don't want to see that happening in Speedway.
Can you ever see it happening?
No,
Sat
because
fans or something.
No, there was not enough to
No,
go.
There's not going to be enough crowds.
Yeah.
No.
Maybe back perhaps in the 70s, but you know, but you know, you was able to have, and Speedway's had this reputation. You can have the banter, you can have the needle, you can chant the songs and all the rest of it, and then go in the bar afterwards and have a drink with exactly the same people. You know, we've always had that reputation. That's how Speedway's always, you know, the fans have always behaved, and so it's great.
I think the thing that strikes me more than anything else is this is a development league as well. Why are we getting needle in a development league? You know, this isn't the elite league. It's not a massive thing, really. But Cradley fans seem to think that winning is everything, and I think that's part of the mindset that's causing them to do this kind of thing.
Well, I'm going to have a. I'm going to. I'm going to.
Going back to the whole thing of like, is it development league or is it the third
I'm going to sort of have a slight disagreement with you. I don't think it is a development league anymore. If it's a development league, why is John Anderson riding? Why is, I forgot the guy's name that rode last couple of weeks ago and lost the bronze helmet against Zach, who's like, you know, he's
Tony Atkin.
He's in the 50s, isn't he?
Yeah. You could argue as well, why is Adam Ellis riding in it if it's a development league?
Well, I think he's riding it because he wasn't allowed to ride in the Premier League because I think that's the bottom line on that one. I think he'd probably preferred to have been in the Premier League, but you know. So it is. I think some clubs do treat it as a development league. For them as a club, you're talking about people like Coventry. It's a way of them getting assets, but in a way, I think that's the way we're using it as well, as a way of getting assets. But it's still, there's no point in being in a league unless you want to win it. So I've got no arguments with wanting to win. I have got an argument with expecting to win as a right, which I think some Cradley fans seem to think they have the right to win. And I'm using the word some. Yeah, and again, I want to make that clear that I was looking at some things on the BSF today, and there were a few Cradley fans come and said, "Yep, you won us. You were a better team on the day, pure and simple." That's fine. You know, that's what. Hopefully, I would hope that we would do the same. If it's reversed, and it might be reversed in the next match. Who knows?
Who knows? Yeah.
So. Yeah, so there you go. I'm not sure that you can class it as a development league as such. I think the Midland League is now the development league, isn't it?
That's right.
Dingle, have you gone to sleep?
I'm really sorry, Jay. I'm struggling to hear.
Okay, sorry.
You won't speak up a bit.
Okay, I was saying really, I don't think that. The National League now could be considered a development league. It's more the third tier, and probably the development league now is like the Midland League, really.
Yeah, I mean, there's some clubs that see it as a development league. I think if you've got a club in a higher division, then that's exactly what it is, and I think the supporters understand that. For teams like Cradley, it's all they've got. So, yes, they do expect to win, but
and teams like Birmingham, of course.
Yeah,
I think both of us need to move up, to be honest, at some point in the near future, because without wanting to sound too arrogant, I think we're both a little bit too big for this league. To me, it is a development league. It's a way of getting assets, and it's good for the club, but it's not something with a long-term future.
Yeah, I think we need to be moving up probably at the end of this year. I think Cradley really needed to move up last year, but obviously with their track situation, they wasn't able to. And
I think Cradley did plan to move up, didn't they? But that's obviously circumstances meant that they couldn't. I mean, they're certainly big enough for the Premier League, possibly the Elite League.
And we haven't heard anything about. I know Tony Moll's trying to sort out the planning permission, isn't he? So that we haven't got anywhere near as many restrictions, and you have to wonder whether that's a move to maybe move both clubs up into the Premier League.
It's been quite quiet, that, isn't it?
Mm. So it'd be interesting.
Probably
to see.
For a good reason.
Yeah, be interesting to see how that develops. It really will. Okay, so let's move on to. You okay to stick around, Dingle?
Sorry?
You okay to stick around, mate?
Yeah, of course I am, yeah.
Fantastic. So maybe we should move the discussion on now to something a bit more positive. I mean, we can talk about last night's match, which was a great advert for, I think, for National League Speedway. Some of the racing wasn't the best, but some of the racing was pretty hot.
Yeah.
That move by Tom Perry from last to first on the first corner, the battle that Adam Ellis had in the last heat. Yes, Jesse?
Times.
Oh yeah, we'll come to that as well, because we're going to talk about that's what I'm coming on to. But of course the biggest, I think, good news for Birmingham is the guy that's going to become our asset, Zach Wojtaszek. He just gets better and better, doesn't he? You are allowed to speak now, Dan.
I think it's killing me for the interview.
He's an absolutely fantastic talent, and he can only get better and better. He's got a good head on his shoulders. I mean, I listened to an interview with him today, and he's just taking it one meeting at a time. I think he's got some really good people about him as well. He knows what it takes to win. He'll have some disappointments along the way, and we'll see how he copes with that as it happens. But I'm really excited for the kid. I think he's going places.
I think. I mean, we've said this before, of course. So, but I think you're absolutely right. And since that you mentioned that interview, we've got the interview off the website, the Birmingham website, which we'll play in a minute. Mainly because Joseph did some beautiful interviews last night, but none of them recorded. We had a bit of a technical difficulty, didn't we, Webby?
Yeah. For some reason.
It wasn't anyone's fault, was it, Webby?
No.
So anyway, we'll play that interview now.
Zach Wojtaszek just getting better and better each week here at Perry Bar.
Yeah, the whole team's gelling together well, and it's not just the one individual person. We all chipped in tonight, so but they courageously kept us close, and I think it was an interesting meeting for the fans, but yeah, we just picked them at the end.
For yourself, 14 points out to 15, another tremendous individual score. New track record in Heat 3 was one spectacular thing, but to go out and win a big Heat 15 as well, that must be great for yourself.
Yeah, the track record came a bit of scaring me, because I just kept going. It lifted a few times, but it was pulling all the way around, so yeah, that was good. And Heat 15, I didn't think I was going to get it today, but now I've got my first one out of the way, I feel like I can just improve now.
A really important win for the side as well, and good character shown, because it was really tight all the way through the meeting.
Yeah, definitely. I think up to around about Heat 10, 11 it was still tight, so we knew near the latter stages in previous matches where like Heat 12, 13, 14, that's where we've been like kind of worked well, and we come together well at the end of the meetings, but we knew Cradley were always going to be a hard team, so but even it's a away fixture, but it's good to get the points, and obviously good to get the win as well.
You've been doing more than okay for yourself, but noticed an experienced face in your pit corner tonight as well.
Yeah, Paul's been helping me, and he's helped me since like 2012 when I first won the World on the Grass. So just every bit of advice he gives seems to work, and he said it's just good to have someone like that in your pit, so you get rid of all the problems.
And are you surprised by the start you've made to your Speedway career? Because to come in on a 3-point average and banging consistent scores like you are, you've got to be over the moon.
Yeah, after that first meeting at Cradley where I scored 2, I thought, we're in for a bit of a shocker of a season, but I didn't think it would go this way, and a lot of people told me that it's been going good and that I will come good, but this early in the season to be going this well is a massive shock to me.
So there we go. We've started this. I don't know whether you know about this actually, David. We've started this thing about we're going to have a trophy for the rider, Birmingham or Cradley rider that's got the fastest time of the season. And obviously Zach got a track record last night. Joseph, you're keeping the score on that. Would you like to tell us about it?
If I remember correctly, it was 59.18.
Yeah, 59.18. So currently the fastest time of the season is another trophy being held by Birmingham. So yeah, but we'll sort of keep you up to date on that, and we're going to produce a little trophy for that to give to whichever rider, Cradley or Birmingham, that wins that one. So there you go. So, like you said, he's got a good head on his shoulder, and I don't know whether you heard the interview we had last week with Graham Drury, who was saying, that he's keeping the press away from him, so there's no pressure and talk about, future world champion and all, which are obviously things that people are going to say about him. So, everything's been done right.
I think Graham Drury's the right man to be in his corner. To be honest, he's been there, he's done it all, hasn't he? And he knows exactly what he's doing. I know Matt will tell you about Pete Adams at Wolves. He always tries to keep Ty Woffington's head down and keep him concentrated on what he's doing. I think Graham's doing exactly the same with Zach.
Fantastic. Well, let's go. Let's talk a little bit about last night's match then. I've got a bit East Humble Pie, actually, haven't I? Really?
Have you?
Yeah, I think I have, because I've been quite a big criticiser. Is that a word? Criticiser.
Critic, I think is the best word.
Yeah. Of
Moaner.
Thank you. Of Adam Kirby. He was the match winner last night, really, wasn't he?
He was. He rode really well.
And that 5-1 that he got with Zach in the penultimate heat. Yeah, see, I can speak.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have picked it for a start off. I didn't think that would have happened, but it was really good. It was really good. He rode really well. Rode really well last night, all over.
You were saying you were thinking about saying maybe we should get rid of him. I'm thinking now we maybe should keep him for at least a few more weeks. See how he does. If he keeps riding like he was last night, then we definitely want him.
Well, I think last night has got to have done his confidence
the world of good.
And I think we all know 60% of Speedway's between the ears, isn't it? It's confidence.
Adam Kirby's he was absolutely chuffed with last night. I know that from listening to the interview. He was really pleased.
Yeah. Well, we did have an interview.
He's staying on the bike.
Yeah, you could tell. He was ecstatic.
But I mean, okay, I have, let's use your word, moaned a little bit about Adam Kirby during the season, but the big thing that I've always said is if he stays on the bike, he scores points.
He stayed on the bike.
He stayed on the bike yesterday, mostly, and he scored points.
Yeah, that's right. So
I think if you're staying on the bike against reserves in the National League, there's a chance they're going to come off anyway, so he's going to pick up points here and there.
Exactly.
But I mean, yesterday he actually won a race. He's getting bonus points.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing all the right things.
Yeah,
I'm really pleased for him.
Yeah, big up for Adam Kirby. As I said, I don't think it's in any way an exaggeration. He was the match winner for us last night, because the thing that we've said with the having a top three as powerful as we've got, you just need the other riders to chip in here and there, and you're going to win that. You're going to win meetings. Well, he scored, was it 9 points?
Mm-hmm.
So.
Just
we need to be a little bit more than a three-man team, don't we? Yeah. We need one or two to chip in here and there.
Yeah. Well, which is what Adam.
I actually noticed yesterday that Alex Wilson's put on 2 points on his average as well.
Yeah.
That's gone under the radar.
Mm.
Sam Chapman needs to get fit, but we can't rely on the top three all the time.
I thought there was encouraging signs last night. I thought Alex Wilson, particularly in his last race, I think he was unlucky not to get that pass in that heat and score a point. He suddenly decided, I can ride the dirt, and off he went, and he could ride the dirt.
Yeah.
I think there's some encouraging signs there, and I think also Sam Chapman got better as the night went on. So he's still
not fit though.
He's still not fit.
He's definitely still not fit.
Yeah.
I saw him last year, and he's a lot better than that. He's clearly uncomfortable, but without riding, he's not going to get any fitter. He's just, we need him at the moment. We haven't got any other options.
But he scored the odd point yesterday.
He's getting there. He's improving.
So I think that during the meeting, he looked to get a lot more comfortable on the bike actually during the meeting. So whether he sort of worked out how to hold his hand and so it doesn't hurt him quite so much, because it's I mean, we spoke to him last night in yet another interview that we haven't got, and he was saying that the hand is still bothering him, and he's got to sort of draw the line about not putting too much pressure on it so that it doesn't interfere with the progress as far as getting better and scoring points, and it's a difficult one.
As I say, he was definitely a much better rider than that last year. He's got it, but we haven't got a lot of choice but to use him at the moment. He's more than willing to give it a go. Within a few weeks, maybe we'll see him scoring 7, 8, 9 points a meeting.
And I've got to eat another bit of humble pie now, because I have said, oh, hello. Sort it out, Webby, for goodness sake. So I said about Harvey Banks that we sort of really need to replace him, but let's be honest about it. Every replacement we've had hasn't been as good as Harvey Banks.
Robert Parker isn't ready, is he?
No, he's not ready. Sean
Phillips? No,
Sean Phillips.
I hadn't heard of him before I saw him last night, and to be honest, he didn't really.
To be perfectly fair to Harvey Banks, he's well out of his depth. He's not ready. He's absolutely not ready for the National League. So
but it's the best we've got at the moment for that position. That's the thing. It's finding somebody on a 3-point average that can do better than him, and so far we haven't done that. So you have to wonder whether stick with him.
If I was in Graham Drury's shoes, I'd be on the phone to Phil Morris to try and work it out, because Harvey Banks is nowhere near ready. He's half a lap behind every time he races. He's got no confidence at all. It's not doing him any good. It's not doing us any good. We need to try and find some kind of permanent replacement. I'm sure Graham's trying.
Oh well, I know he is, because in yet another interview that we haven't got, he's pretty much admitted that. So there you go. So all in all, I think positive. Well, how can you not be positive? We're top of the league, matches in hand, and we haven't really, I don't think, ridden yet. Not every single rider has ridden to their
full
best
potential. No, that's right.
Full potential. So
it's a good building blocks and a good start to build on.
It's all going to be down to injuries now, of course. I mean, that's the problem with having a top-heavy team. If you lose one of your top hitters, ouch!
You've got a problem.
Which is a little bit what Cradley discovered last night, of course.
That's right.
So, and let's be honest about it. I mean, I've got to be honest. I think we've been incredibly lucky, knockout cup apart. We've been incredibly lucky in who we've met and when we've met them.
That's right.
And you do need a little bit of luck to win things in this league. So long may it continue. But yeah,
can you just go back to an earlier question? Somebody says that do you think is anybody scared about Zach going off to anybody worried about Zach going off to another club, being poached?
No.
I
get no sense that he's intending to do that. How is he going to get poached? He's our asset. They'd have to buy him.
And also, especially with him being protected from the media and stuff, I don't think he'd want to change, because he might not get that sort of treatment then at another club.
Why? Where would he go?
I think there's a good chance that he may well be on the fast track list for next season.
Oh gosh, yeah.
More chance. I think quite a few clubs will probably be looking at him.
He'll be on that. Yeah, he'll be on that. And of course, it's another reason probably that we need to be in the Premier League next year, because that's where he's going to be next year.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I don't think Zach's going to be able to ride in the National League. His average is nearly 10 already.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to have to go Premier League, whether that's with us or with somebody else.
Yeah.
But he could still remain an asset.
Of course, yeah. I mean, our aim, as we all know, is to get back in the Premier League. I don't imagine for a second that we would sell him.
Very surprised.
Unless somebody come up with a ridiculous offer, of course. But because that's been our problem all along, isn't it? Assets. So why would you sell one of the hottest properties in British Speedway at the moment? I think I'm safe to say that, aren't I?
I wouldn't think so.
Anybody's for sale at the right price.
Well, I agree, but it would have to be at the right price. It would have to be a price that's going to give us options. But I don't it's not something that I think is on anybody's radar at the moment. Anyway, let's put it that way. So, unless Paul come in for him, I suppose. But again, they have to pay for him. So there you go.
And on the same subject, would Tony Mole be tempted if, say, Paul offered big money for a transfer?
Well, it'd be stupid not to be tempted, wouldn't they?
Of course.
I'm sure he would be tempted, but you've got to weigh up what's the best interests of Birmingham Speedway. I think I'd have to say that the best interests of Birmingham Speedway is not to let Paul get all the bloody assets and grab some good ones for ourselves. Obviously, the other side of that coin is that the rider will have some say in that as well. You know, a rider's not, if Paul came in and said, and he turned his head and he said, "Well, I want to transfer," not a lot you can do about that.
Not really, no.
But you know, this is such a typical Brummie conversation.
It's a natural.
To be honest,
we're naturally dour, aren't we?
I think Zach would want to. He has got the opportunity to become as big as Jason Lyons. To be honest, he's, he could become a legend at Birmingham. And,
I think he already has.
Well, I mean, if he moves up with us and develops with us, he could become an absolute legend. At Poole, he'll be a small fish in a very big pond.
This is true. There is some,
whether the people around him would want that, I just don't know. I doubt it, and I really hope that's the case.
Well, it's like it comes back to what you were saying before. I mean, he's very level-headed. He's got a good family behind him that are looking after his interests and not pushing him too much, and everybody seems to be doing the right things, and as long as we carry on doing the right things for him, there's only one reason, isn't there, that he'd want to leave, which is the reason why anybody does anything, which is money. That's the only thing that could put
which would be a shame. It'd be a shame.
Yeah, but
well, I'm sure with the ability that he's got, he'll want to test himself against the very best. That's something that needs to be put and stressed as well, I think.
Yeah,
I think at the moment, certainly, his best bet is to stay with the Brummies.
I think so. So, there you go. Any more questions on there?
Brum and Cradley might make the jump next season. I think referring to Premier status.
Well, I mean, Tony Mole has already said in the forum pre-season, he said if we win the league, we will apply to get the Premier League. If we don't win the league, he's going to look at it.
Yeah.
So that's a fairly
National League, as Dingle said, National League is not a long-term answer.
No.
I think it's a bit of a novelty this season, but I think it's chancing your arm to stay in the league for too long. Yeah.
Well, I think Cradley are finding that out really. Yeah. So
I think we need to look at grade levels before we try and move up again. Mind you, Premier League always worked for us before.
What was the crowd like last night?
Good
crowd. Yeah. And I've got to say this, something I meant to say at the beginning actually. I thought that we were louder than the Crowdley supporters, and I thought there were more of us.
From where I was standing,
actually,
the Cradley fans were much louder, and I couldn't really see any Brummie supporters from where I was standing because I was pretty much surrounded by Cradley.
Okay, they do tend to like that first bend actually, but if you look around the main straight and everything, it was all red and yellow, wasn't it? Yeah. I think. What do you reckon, Dingle?
I think we should just, if you want to find a Cradley fan, just throw scratchings on the floor.
I can't possibly answer. I can't. But didn't you think that that we held our own at the very least, noise levels wise? And
it was definitely the biggest away crowd I've ever seen for a Birmingham meeting. I think we had our normal home crowd, and I think, to be honest, Cradley probably less than normal.
Right.
Just about. But for a national league team, that was an absolutely fantastic crowd.
Yeah.
Wolves would have been proud of that. It was really, really good. And
Matt's nodding his head vehemently. Yeah.
Looking at the crowds this season, yes.
Yeah. So things are going the right direction, I think.
I think there's been something on the shout box about we need to make the jump. We both do. We're not going to achieve either club what we can achieve where we are. It's all down to planning permission and crowd levels, but I'd love to see both of them in the Premier League. I love the Premier League, and that's where I'd like to see us long term.
The special one sees a league restructuring before too long.
I don't think the Elite League can carry on like it's carrying on, can it?
Well, it's staggering on more than carrying on, I think. So, I mean, there's been lots of talk about possibly Glasgow moving up at some point, but I don't think the Elite League want any more teams. I think they're happy just for it to be the minimum number of 8 clubs.
Yeah, but they might be losing Coventry soon.
That's the $64,000 question if a club drops down. But even then, I think Glasgow logistically.
Lakeside have been making noises as well, haven't they?
Well, they've denied it, haven't they? I think in recent weeks. But Glasgow had certainly got the ambition to go into the Elite League. But I think the logistics of Glasgow going into that league, I think their local derby would be Bellevue, and they'd have to change the race not from Sundays because it would clash with Poland. And so
my personal opinion is that for Birmingham is that I would like at some point to see us in the top league, whatever that top league is. I would hope it isn't the Elite League though. I would hope that they do that something happens, that there's some sort of restructuring, and that the Elite League isn't what it is now.
North and South divisions.
That's something I'd be quite keen on, actually.
North and South divisions.
Yeah, I'd say,
yeah. With the
maybe a playoff.
That's what. Yeah.
With the two tops.
I'm not sure about that, but although maybe, yeah.
Even keels.
It's an idea.
Yeah.
It certainly is an idea.
I didn't think of it, by the way. Special one.
Okay. He's come out with some good
I know
ideas.
he is. Something I smoked him.
Good God. So yeah, but I mean, what you say to that, Dingle? Because I think a club like Birmingham needs. What's the point in being in something if you're not aspiring to be
the best?
The best, whatever that level is.
Yeah.
In your particular neck of the woods.
Well, you need to work out what people are willing to pay to see. I think that the Premier League years were absolutely fantastic for us.
I can't argue with that.
Although we finished top of the Elite League, crowd levels were no better. I think people want Premier League Speedway in Birmingham. I think that's the level that we're at. That's the level that we want.
I think the thing that makes the Premier League over the Elite League is it's a little bit more competitive. The clubs are closer together. I mean, you can already see who the final's going to be this year, isn't it? I don't think there's anybody's got any. In the Elite League, you can already see who's going to be in that final. So there's a much more competitive nature. There's not so much toing and froing with riders, which is a massive thing. As far as like going over to Poland or riding for this time, although perhaps that's possibly has changed a little bit since we was in the Premier League. There might be a little bit more of that going there. That's not very good for radio.
No, I wouldn't do that now. Not that close to me.
But the other big thing about it is the number of clubs and number of meetings, and you've got the Premier League's got your pairs, you've got your fours, which is a fantastic day out in the. You've got the trophy, you've got the league, and you've got the knockout cup. You've got all of these things. What have you got in the Elite League?
That's it. The Elite League.
Elite League. That's it.
Although, in fairness, I mean, I watched some of the Peterborough Glasgow meeting this morning. That was from last night, and a couple of other meetings that I've seen from Premier League days, and the crowd levels aren't brilliant in that league either. No. So it's not just Elite League. It isn't. It's really all across the board.
If you listen to, I think it's Plymouth have been making noises about they're not getting enough people through, and they're not breaking even, and they want a special Premier League meeting with all the promoters to discuss the pay schedule and stuff.
Yeah.
So they're suffering, and there are teams suffering in that league. It's not.
But that's worrying because Plymouth used to be a very well supported club.
That's right.
So, it is worrying. Speedway is worrying at the moment. Yeah. If you're a Speedway fan, it is a worrying thing.
Right.
We're hemorrhaging. I've people go on about we're not getting the younger ones in, and that's certainly true. But we're also losing. I mean, my dad was a case in point. We're losing. My dad won't go to Speedway anymore. He's watched Speedway. he's in his 80s now, and he's watched Speedway since he was, almost in a pushchair. He loves his Speedway, but now he won't go.
I think the main reason he's not going, though, might be because he views this league as like a training league, and that...
Yeah, he has got that opinion, but... we've seen some cracking races. We've seen some duff races as well. Let's be honest about it. You have got wobblers in the National League.
Yeah. But the good races that you see, it more than makes up for it.
Yeah, well, it's all about being committed to your team, and that's what makes Speedway.
To be fair, in the National League, you can sort of tolerate poorer quality racing because the riders are a bit more inexperienced,
and you can see that they're giving it everything.
Right, yeah.
And that's always been, as a Speedway fan, you want to see your riders giving everything.
Yeah.
If they come last, but like Adam Ellis, yesterday in Heat 13, there's not one Birmingham Speedway fan that was disappointed in him and his performance in that heat, because you could see how much he was trying. Okay, he fell off. He fell off because he was trying so damn hard. And you see a lot of that.
If you look at yesterday, J.A., the best heats were 13 and 15.
13 and 15,
They're the best riders.
Of course.
In the National League, you'll have lots of heats with one or two wobblers at the back who can barely stay on the bike.
There are a lot of...
which, fair enough, they're giving it their all, but Premier League is better in my mind because you don't get that.
Oh, yeah, so...
In the Elite League, some of the better riders don't try hard enough. This is why I'm saying Premier League's better, because
Don't get me wrong, I don't disagree with you there at all. I think the way things are at the moment, Premier League is the better league out of all the three. I also think it gets the most advantages as far as rider availability and stuff like that.
Yeah, probably does.
That's a very strange thing about Speedway, isn't it? The middle league gets priority over all the riders.
Yeah.
No, I'll never understand that.
No, it's only in Speedway, as we keep saying, but that's the way it is. Anyway, it's nearly time to go, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
It's been a great discussion. What we haven't done is speak about our chances at Stoke. So have a quick straw poll. How do you think we're going to do at Stoke, Joseph?
Well, if Kirby was like he was
he knows Stoke well
yesterday,
as well, of course.
Then we stand a good chance.
Matt?
I would say a comfortable Rummage win.
Right, you can come with me.
I'll go for comfortable win as well.
Dingle?
It's going to be dusty.
Yeah.
It's going to be really dusty. So
Okay.
if you go in, take a face mask. I'd imagine we should just about win, but Stoke have got some very experienced riders, they've got some decent riders, so it's going to be a close meeting, but I should imagine we've got enough to win around 50-40.
50-40. So you're all far more confident than me. I'm happy we go there and get a point. But that's me. I'm always slightly pessimistic and then enjoy being wrong.
The special one has gone for Brummies by 6.
Brummies by 6. That would give us all 4 points. So you reckon we're going to get all 4 then, Dingle?
We need to win by 7, not 6. Sorry, special one.
That's my fault. That's my fault, not his.
Abandoned.
I'm hoping we should be able to. We should be able to, but it's going to take Adam Kirby to do what he can do around Stoke, which we know he can.
And also all of our top riders to fire.
I think that's a given.
Yeah, it's always the same, isn't it? We've all, pressure on them, but to be fair, they deal with it really well. And isn't it interesting, actually, as a last aside, we started off the season talking about our top 2 have got a fire. We're talking about our top 3 now, aren't we?
Yeah, that's right.
We've got 3 number 1s, haven't we? 3 number 1s.
Yeah, so it's good. Just gives you a head start, doesn't it? And it means as the way it's set up. And I remember Wolverhampton being set up like this a couple of years ago, and it used to really annoy me. You keep it close through the meeting, and you can even be a couple of points behind. But once you get into those last 5 heats, you've got a good top 3. You run away.
That's right.
I was counting down to heat 12 yesterday.
Yeah, I know you were.
Because after heat 12, the Brummies are going to take sort of 4, 6, 8 points from those last 3 heats easily.
Yeah.
It makes it really big.
Paul used to do it all the time, didn't they? And I know what you mean. It's really annoying, but
It's nice to be the other side of it. Let's put it that way.
We all get the same amount of points at the start of the season, and however you want to build your team is the way you build it.
Yes.
And, you know, we're reaping the rewards.
It's a very un-Graham Drury type of team, isn't it?
Graham Greer would never build a team
Well,
like
he
that,
didn't
would
build
he?
it, did he?
Yeah,
That's the
But,
thing.
well, yeah.
it's working. It's working.
You have to wonder whether he might
change.
change his mind on that in future after the way this team's worked.
But who are you going to drop? You cannot drop any of those top three, can you?
Oh gosh,
And you
no.
would need to
You would
rebuild
be
the
shot.
team. You've got-
Well,
You'd
that's
be
maybe a
shot
bit of
if
an
you did that.
exaggeration, but
Exactly. We'll have to stay as we are and hope that some of the lads at the bottom keep firing as they did yesterday.
Yeah, well, it's going the right direction, and we're top of the league. So perhaps it's a bit of it ain't broke, don't fix it.
yeah.
You know?
I've got to say it makes a big difference from before we went down when we didn't even have one good number one.
Yeah. Yep, exactly right. And on that note, see you all next week, and see some of you at Stoke, I'm sure. Take care, everyone. Thanks, Dingle.
Cheers,
Good night,
mate.
good night, everyone.
Bye.
No problem. Bye.
Bye.
Welcome to the Speedway Tavern. Enjoy the show. Welcome to the Speedway Tavern. What you need to know. Have a drink, have your say. All opinions here today. Welcome to the Speedway